What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be a part 2 of Simon Bennett's on Power Rangers Dino Fury premiere and the future of the franchise. So the last time we did a video yesterday on this dude, he was basically talking about the balance between Super Sentai stock footage and American footage. But this time we got some more details of what he actually said about the show. And he says that I wouldn't say there's ever been pressure from within the age to show up. But the adult fans who may be watching the show and love Power Rangers are the most vocal critics of the show online, which is true, like myself, Dawson Ryder, Mr. Winnie Productions, who else? Orange Ranger Videos, Ranger Liz, and if you got Tokusatsu fans all over the world that are watching the show, they're gonna, be critics of the show whether they like it or not. So which is kind of true, and I'm glad that he's actually acknowledging the fans. So it's cool to see something like that. Even though in terms of size, they're very much a niche audience compared to the kids the show is made for. I think those comics, fantastic as they are, serve a niche function compared to the audiences of the show. That's just the nature of the medium and the size of the audiences they reach. So, comparison with the Boom Studio comics and comparison of the kids shows, it's like they're both connected in different universe, a multiverse. So they try to make it more mature at the same time, like the Boom Studio comics are. And if you look at the kids show, well, the TV series is much more kid friendly, but there have been some mature moments, but not every season is like that. So he also went on to say, I obviously would like for everyone who watches the show to love it. I don't like the show being hated. I don't like knowing that the writers get hate mail or death threats. Everyone is trying to make the show that as many people as possible will enjoy. I'm a little mixed on what he's actually said. The writer is getting hate mail, especially if you have the ones from the newest Bond era or writing the Hasbro era, like Becca Barnes. She's considered to be one of the worst writers from the show, especially with she's written terrible episodes from Samurai all the way to Beast Morphers. And I'm hoping there's a little non-balance into the Dino Fury season, as long as that they're not shoving politics and throats like they've done with Beast Morphers season 2, well, episode 2 of Beast Morphers. That episode was filled with a whole lot of wokeness and a lot of politics. So I think you know why I hate that episode the most, because it's all about saving the shores, the turtles. Like, it wasn't even about Power Rangers. It was just about just politics. Like, I'm tired of it. Enough about that. Let's just focus back on topics. So, what he's actually saying that fans do love Power Rangers and they're gonna love the show whether they like it or not. But as far as the writers getting hate mail and death threats, no one should have to experience something like that. But regardless, I really think the writers need to step up the game and not make it more cheesy, because yeah, kids deserve better content too. So then he went on to say, there are, yes, ones that I've sort of inherited from Power Rangers creator Ham Saban. When he came back to the franchise halfway through the series, he felt the show wasn't hitting the right notes in order to capture the younger audiences. The requirements became very specific. It had to tick a number of boxes. There had to be a strong moral cruel, a lesson. There had to be a moving scene full of heart, and there had to be 2 ground fights and Megazord fights every episode, and there could be no serial threads. He believed very strongly that every episode had to work as a standalone. The only link episodes that were allowed were 2-part finales, or maybe an episode 1 or 2 of the season, which is stupid on Saban's part. When he brought back Samurai, that was my worst nightmare. Back in 2011 when Samurai premiered, I thought it was fine, but then I realized that it was too much like Mighty Morphin. It was so bad. The acting was terrible. Puns were everywhere, and it was a copy paste from Shikincher translated to American version of Samurai, the watered down version, and him try to recapture the Mighty Morphin days, starting with Samurai all the way through Ninja Steel. That was a terrible move for him, and all he basically cared about was the toy sales and not about the show or the fans itself. And when the part when he said something about the moral lessons, that was stupid, especially from Ninja Steel. And then Beast Morphers, I feel like they try to do the same thing, just watered down so much. And it got so bad to the point where I didn't even watch season 2 of Beast Morphers. And that really goes to show you that how bad the season was. It had some good episodes, but a lot of the episodes that were in that season were god awful. And it's a lot of shows. And the fact that he doesn't like doing multi-parts only in finales, and it's really stupid. Like, come on. The other thing he was keen on was the idea of the comedy duo, which harked back to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, why both Ninja Steel and Beast Morphers had the comedy duo characters. Stupid move once again. They had to use a big pinch of slapstick because that sort of bordered physical comedy appeals to younger viewers. So those are some of the rules to which the writers had to write. I felt that quite unfairly amongst the adult online community. The writers, who are very clever people and very passionate about what they do, became blamed for stuff that was outside of their control. And what's sad about that is that Saban, instead of being more original and being new to every season, he would pretty much just focus more on the Mighty Morphin part, too much on the Bulk and Skull comedy duo, which was stupid on his part once again. Look, I get it. Bulk and Skull were the most iconic characters, but sometimes you don't need to have every character in every season to be like Bulk and Skull, with the theme song, the jokes, the puns. And if you look at Beast Morphers season 1 finale, Ben and Betty comedy duo parts felt forced. It was never needed in the first place. So I really think that they should just limit the comedy humor and Dino Fury. And hopefully they don't do the Bulk and Skull thing anymore, because I'm really getting tired of that. Like, enough is enough already. And he went on to say, having said that, I think that those kinds of mandates have eased off with Dino Fury. We're able to do a lot more than I believe will appeal to the adult audiences while maintaining the engagement of younger viewers. For example, we've been able to share the comedy round. There isn't a detained comedy character who will annoy the audiences and distract from the Rangers' story. There's now comedy in the villains of the Rangers. It's shared around, and it's comedy played more through character or dialogue rather than elaborate gag sequences. We've been encouraged to do that, and I've really embraced it. It means we can be less predictable. So basically, he's saying that they're going to be less comedy and not forced comedy in every episode, not focus on too much the comedy duo, which is basically about the Rangers. So it's basically more story on the Rangers instead of just like having too much humor, because if you do that, it's going to turn the fans off and it's going to make the fans not want to watch your show. So I'm glad that he's kind of understanding of having full control of the seasons. And based on what we've seen from episode 1, I believe this season might have a future of being great. Then he went on to say, I think what Zulin Street taught me and does teach everyone who works on it at any capacity very quickly, because you're working on 5 episodes a week across a year, and story and character. The audience's engagement with the characters is what makes the soap work. They have to care. They have to want to know what happens next. In order to make the audience care, they have to be well construct the stories that are divert from character rather than impose on character. If there's anything I've learned from working on it, is that how characters can define story. If you look at the Bold and the Beautiful, the show sucked. It's very useful stuff. I think a lot of people go from soap into other forms because the intensity of a serial drama like that and the volume of work that you have to produce. You know, if you're good at what you do, it really hones your skill. And he went on to say more. The ones I'm working with at the moment, laughs, is more than my life is worth to name anyone else. I love the cast I'm working with at the moment, and I really enjoy the Beast Morphers actors as well. Yeah, they're really good people though, and they're very talented actors though. It's just the writings. It's just the writing sucked. They, I mean, they're just nice people and completely committed to the job. They never let it get them down. In terms of the characters on screen, it's really hard for me to separate them from the actors. I'm at a craft end of the show, so I can't. Watching the episode separate what I'm watching from what I know went into making it. I will never be able to watch the show as a viewer in that scene. So he is basically saying that while he loves the actors from Beast Morphers and he understands that they're committed to their job and they're nice people, he's actually saying that it's hard for him to separate the characters from the show. So, which means that he's at the end of the, well, he's at the craft end of the show. So he's trying to make sure he's doing as best he can to make sure that the story is involved and it makes sense. So, yeah, that is part 2 of Simon Bennett's interview about Power Rangers Dino Fury, and I believe the show is going to do great each and every weekend, and hopefully they keep up the momentum. So, yeah, what's your thoughts? Let me know.